This is the gold, Ralph. Yeah.
You guys missed it all already.
Yeah, exactly. Episode over. Yeah. Well, I guess we were gonna, Ralphie and I kind of decided we were gonna open this up the same way, just like, who the hell are you, dude, and what are you up to? Because you're our favorite follow on Instagram right now. We've already told the people a little bit about you, how we kind of met via Public Print House, our episode with the Vocal Bomb
He'll message
t-shirts.
me. He'll send me like your story, and he'll be like, "What doesn't he do?" And
Yeah, exactly. He'll be in Pittsburgh one day working at like a dope boutique. The next day he's in Chicago with the artist that he manages. The next day he seems to be in New York just taking like sick photographs of graffiti with his lady.
In between that, bowls a perfect game.
Yeah, exactly. Just out there ripping up the lanes, hitting home runs at PNC Park. Like, we've dubbed you like kind of like Pittsburgh's Dos Equis guy. Like,
The most
If only
interesting
the
man
beard
in the
grew
Mon
on
Valley.
my face and not my neck.
Yeah. Nice, a little self-deprecation.
Yeah.
You'll fit right in with us.
Yeah, that's me.
But no, Bri, thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having
me. It's been, I wouldn't say long overdue, but like you said, when we came to Public Print House, we definitely hit it off. And you are a fan of our home run derby idea, which we'll get into in a little bit. That's how I knew you were actually made for this show.
Can't wait.
We announced our derby, and you just sent me like 3 or 4 different videos of you hitting dingers, like in different outfits, like definitely like
let's go.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, why don't you just kind of tell like a little bit about give us who, what, where, when, and why?
Yeah.
And we'll get into
I
it
think
from there.
you, and thank you for having me on. You guys hit the nail on the head with that man of many talents. It's a blessing and a curse because I think people struggle to identify with like people like to be like, that's like Ralphie, he's good at yoga.
Yeah.
But like they struggle to be like, that's Nick, he's good at bowling and like he
Pottery.
dresses great.
Yeah.
And like everyone finds him funny at the party and no one laughs at it's like, it's hard, I think, for people to identify you as like one characteristic or more than one characteristic. But anyways, yeah, I'm Brian. I've actually never been on a podcast, so thank you.
Wow.
Because I feel like you said, like I've done all these things and like I didn't want to like be like, I need to be on a podcast. But also I'm like, I feel like I got some interesting shit that's happened in my life,
And you're natural on the mic, dude. I mean, it's definitely, I didn't have any worries about you, but I'm surprised.
I was in a hardcore band for a while.
Okay, all right. See, we're getting in. Oh my! I feel like we could just like Ralphie and I could just turn our mics
Shout
off.
out Diesel Club Lounge.
Nice.
Now Foxtrot.
Foxtail.
Foxtail. Oh, sorry. Yeah. But okay. So you grew up in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, born and raised East Side, like Churchill.
Nice. Okay.
But I always describe between Monroeville and like Squirrel Hill.
Nice.
Born and raised, went to Woodland Hills. Grew up playing a ton of sports, and basically got into music. And like Blink 182 was an early influence for me. A lot of people now kind of know me as being like more fashionable, and that was really something that came later on. But originally, it was like soccer. Played soccer forever. Worked at Willie's Ski Shop.
Nice. Willie's.
Hi, this is Chris Fumatafala.
The sickest smokes. I forgot about that, dude.
That was
Ralph, we need to get the Willie's bag, dude. You would kill that jingle.
There's still one right out in like Monroeville area.
Yeah. I can connect that.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll talk offline. But okay.
Wait, Ralph. Let's hear your best Willies.
Yeah. Oh, that was nice.
We can auto pitch anything we need.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, the man knows his way around the board too. So yeah. Oh, sorry.
But basically, really grew up loving sports. Got into music. Like I was in bands when I was like 15, 16. None of them really did much, but that was kind of like my early years of like what I did. And then eventually kind of figured out, oh shit. And I skateboarded. Like
there you
skating
go. Does it all. Yep.
Skating once like 15, 16 hit, that took over everything. Like I had the bedroom with the posters on every wall, shoes ripped up, shoelace belts,
Spitfire backpack,
skinny jeans. Yeah, I actually brought my bag from 7th grade.
Look at that. Yeah,
there's goodies in here for the gang, which I was gonna do on camera.
Oh, nice. Okay, we'll get into that in a little bit. Ralph actually just on camera wore a Jerome Bettis jersey.
A jersey
from 7th grade.
From 6th grade still fit me.
Yeah.
I was a big kid.
yeah, large. It was baggy on him the other day.
You know, Jerome Bettis is a great bowler. Did you?
Yeah,
know?
I did know that. Yeah, I did know that actually.
Was it like the black, like blocky lettered, or was it like
It was the
from an era?
It was
when we
actually
sucked?
the original Color Rush from '96, yellow with the black.
Yep.
Almost like that triangle, black triangle thing at the top. Yeah.
No patch.
You could probably get a nice little penny for that.
I
not for
see.
sale.
I see.
Yeah.
I see
Private
some Cordell Stewarts out there.
Well, that's funny you say that. I remember my mom went to buy me that, and she was like, "Do you want the Cordell or do you want the Bettis?" And honestly, I fuck with Cordell Stewart a lot.
Shout out the autograph on the wall.
At the time, there was a rumor going around in the streets that Cordell did some sketchy things in the park, and my mom was like, "Maybe you should get the Bettis," and she was buying it. So I was
You
like,
didn't have
"All right,
much of a say. Yeah,
You were like,
yeah.
I guess.
Jerome Bettis probably my favorite Steeler. Him, Hines Ward, all-time favorite Steelers.
Really?
All-time favorite
man.
Steelers.
I don't know. Peasy probably for me.
Who?
Joey Porter. I love Joey.
Joey's all right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna have to go with Palomalu.
Okay.
Oh,
nice.
dude,
Yeah.
Palomalu.
Also
I mean,
a good one.
I never saw anyone play.
Yeah, I'd once seen Palomalu tackle somebody with his neck.
What do you mean? with his
Him or Neil O'Donnell.
Dude, he
were my
reached-
favorites, It's a tough one between
him,
those.
Neil, Bubby Brister, and Greg Warren, the old long snapper.
I actually, I have a Bam. No, not Bam Bam.
Bam Morris.
No, I have a one of like the old running backs from like the early '90s. I have like I thrifted one of his
Oh my
jerseys.
God, there's a million of them.
Mike
But yeah,
Foster.
It's my.
man.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
I had a Barry Foster jersey.
I think that
I
was
thought you
it.
said Arian Foster at first. I was like, I think it was a little before his time, but yeah, and not on the Steelers. But yeah, that was my
we got
fault.
this. We got this.
Yeah. Okay, so like, and again, you've said this a lot. Like, kind of have your fingers in 100 different pies, and you end up at Willie's, and you, how do you, what pops off at Willie's?
That was actually like. That was a great day. I was 15, so still not legally able to work, or there was some like child labor laws or something, and
Work permits.
Yeah.
it was like you gotta like take a break every half hour. It's
Right.
ridiculous. But anyways, I remember like looking on Craigslist for a snowboard because like I grew up middle class, but like my parents weren't necessarily like blowing money on things. It was like if you want that, save your money and
Sure.
do it. So. I was like looking up a board to buy on Craigslist, and the house phone rang just to
Nice.
so you guys all know how old we are. The house phone rang, no caller ID. My dad picks up, hello, and I like randomly like I visited Willie's and like put in an application like when I was 15. And they were like, oh well, when you're 16, we'll call you, I guess. And yeah, they just called me out of the blue and were like, hey, we have our preseason sale coming up. Do you want to work with us? Like, I was like, this is unreal. Also introduced me to snowboarding, like for real, rather than like just backyard. And then discount passes, like discount equipment.
Perk City, baby.
And then after I stopped working at Willie's, I was like, holy shit, this is the most ridiculously expensive sport I've ever seen. in my life.
Right. This hockey, tennis, like golf,
but like
right.
Same with like wakeboarding, which is like obviously, but like you have to have like the car to get to the top of the mountain. Like if you have a family, you're like have to rent the hotel. Like
Right.
It's just like there's a lot of finances that go into it outside of like the equipment, and also like as a salesman, like you're like, no, you need these pants because they have X, Y, and Z. So like, I was getting this shit half off, and I was like on the mountain like stunting.
Right. Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, if I got to pay for this, like.
Out of pocket.
Yeah, I was like, oh, so
Yeah.
that was an eye opener for me.
Move
Right.
to the land and start skateboarding.
I was like, let me go back to the streets and
Yeah.
just skateboard.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because honestly, skateboarding is like a poor man's sport. You don't need much. You need
True.
a broken board, like shoes that don't fly off your feet or whatever, and you're good.
Right.
I've seen amazing skateboarders have the worst equipment.
Yeah. Other than like basketball and I guess like running, it's probably the least get up you need, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty simple. You get a hand me down from a friend, and you can go skateboard tomorrow. So
Yeah.
but snowboarding not so much.
And then, so like you said, you're working at Willie's at 15, and like you stayed there through high school. Like, what are you doing after high school?
Pretty much. So was working at Willie's in Monroeville, and then in high school it was my senior year roughly. So I was in like bands in like 10th and 11th grade, and then my senior year of high school, you know, we had to do like a senior project or whatever, and I for some reason was like, I'm gonna do a clothing line. Like, I don't really know what made me want to do that, to be honest with you. Well, actually, shout out Sterling. He's older than me and was like a mentor to me. He was a few years older and was just like an amazing artist. And I just was like, how do you do this stuff on the computer with Photoshop? So I think like he kind of introduced me to like making like art for myself, and then that turned into like putting it on clothing. And then I think by the time I was a senior, I was like, oh, I'm gonna create a clothing brand, and it was called 4-1 True.
Nice. I like that. I've always said that. That's always been in my vernacular.
4-1 True.
Maybe that was ringing in the streets back in the day. That's where I heard it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I was popping in 06.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was out there in 06. Yeah.
But yeah, so I started that, and like I basically like spray paint. I made stencils out of like paper, like thick, heavy cardstock.
Right.
Spray painted onto a shirt, and started selling them at my high school. I also did like the duct tape wallets. I did like the braided hemp necklace.
Right.
You know, like
custom rubber band balls.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I was always making stuff. And senior year came around. Also, like, to tie this back, actually, the guys that own Shop 412 in the South Side, they actually worked at Willie's ski shop.
No shit.
So we kind of were on the same wavelength in like 06, 07, where they're like, yo, we're about to like start this brand.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I got 4-1 True.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no,
it's gonna tweak it just a little bit. Yeah.
It was like they had their thing like that they were like building out at the exact same time that I was like in high school. So we always like, we're still really good friends, and like we've always like related on that, like kind of like coming up and like knowing of the same brands, and like just kind of like being on the same page at the same time when not everyone was like into what it is now. But yeah, so basically senior year of high school, started making clothes, and then I went to Pitt Greensburg. Wanted to go to school for art, but didn't get into Pitt, Maine. My mom worked for Pitt, so I was like, I'm not going to school like and paying for school.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Hell no. Yeah.
So I was like, I'll take the branch campus, and they didn't have an art program, so I just went for like communications. And then Willie's had a store in Westmoreland Mall, so I was able to kind of like keep working there.
Sure.
And then eventually like somehow. Yeah, that's we'll get there. But basically, eventually moved to like Chicago, New York, all through dating women, and those relationships didn't work out. But they led to like me meeting people that helped form me.
Right.
So, but that was pretty much the trajectory like into like college. I played soccer in college too.
Nice. But you seem to always kind of be focused on, like you say, and like even though you didn't have the art program at Greensburg or whatever, you seemed always kind of focused on that being your next move, or at least aware of it, right? And
yeah, and I'll tell you this, like it's really hard for me, to identify as an artist. So that's one thing. If anyone feels that way, like I struggle with that daily. Calling myself an artist, putting together stuff that I'm proud of. I'll share it with you guys, but there's a Venn diagram. You know what that is?
Yep.
I don't.
So like the two circles that intersect in the middle.
Yeah. Give yourself some credit over there. Yeah.
McKeesport High School.
Yeah, you're too comfy in your new seat over there. Yeah.
I don't like it as much.
Fair enough. Should we switch mid-show?
No, we're good. We'll finish.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
No. There was a Venn diagram that it says like artist, and then it says like on one side it says like absolute narcissism, and then the other side says like self-crippling doubt.
Sure.
Or like crippling self-doubt, excuse me. And in the middle it's like artist.
Right. Yeah.
And like that's, I mean, like I've still feel this way. But yeah, essentially there's always been a part of me that either wanted to make music or like draw or paint or, you know, like screen print, which making t-shirts in high school, I eventually was like, oh, that's what that is. Like, It's called screen printing. So like, you know, I kind of always wanted to be around it, but didn't necessarily know how or which way or medium. So that's kind of like why you're like, oh, he's always doing stuff. And it's like, I've always tried my hand at different things.
Right.
And I tell this to people all the time. I wish I could work a job where I get paid to just like learn new like hobbies and crafts.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Ralph, that sounds like your ideal situation too. I
That's
feel
like what
yeah.
I do too, kind of.
Yeah, you kind of do that, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
Is that like how you got into yoga?
Yeah.
You're just like, let me try this. Or
just happened. Well, I got into it and I enjoyed it, and I was like,
that's weird.
Yeah.
And I
feel great.
I was like, the hood needs to find out about this shit. I'm like,
Right.
It doesn't need to just be these little hippie vegan girls.
Right.
It needs to be like, I don't know. If I could do it, then anybody should do it. And it's dope. Like people underestimate meditating and things like that. But
I fully agree with you.
And Ralph, I think we talk about too a lot, like Brian was just saying about that, like calling yourself an artist or struggling. I know you got strong takes on that.
I know.
Right. Yeah.
I feel I struggle with that all the time.
Because I guess, do you think that there's a difference between an artist and a creator? I guess that could also be a Venn diagram, right?
That's
that to me
question.
is, and I look at it as kind of an evolution of, like you talk about there, you struggled for a long time calling yourself an artist, and I think Ralphie and I would say right now that we definitely would not identify as artists, but we spend a lot of our time.
A lot of my friends, everyone around me is an artist.
Right, and we are creators. We put videos out, we put pods out, we throw events, we do these things that we spend a lot of time and effort creatively approaching and then packaging and putting out there, which again is maybe not sculpting or painting or designing fashion or whatever. But I think it's the more you identify with the thing, right? It's almost like not giving yourself credit for it. I think at least from a personal
what you just said is a great point on like, you're like, oh, all my friends are artists. Well, imagine if all your friends weren't artists. Yeah. You would be the artist in that group. Yeah. And I have to constantly remind myself about that. Like a lot of people like, I don't want to say are like regular, but like aren't making art. And I've slowly surrounded myself with nothing but people that are creating.
And I think what a lot of people are, whether consciously or not, is something you said that resonated with me is like, I think almost everybody in the world like feels that creative itch, but a lot of people struggle with finding the right outlet. Like not everybody can rap, not everybody can design clothes, but it's like kind of finding a way to like redefine that creativity. And that's like what I'm so appreciative of, like the pod and excuse me, like what's good in the hood is I couldn't rap, I couldn't paint, I couldn't draw, I couldn't write a beautiful poem, I couldn't design anything, but I always knew, like I was always around that, I always wanted to be around that, I was always drawn to that. And then when I like found the pod and it was kind of like a natural fit, that's how I felt.
Right.
Where like
I think you and I have that in common.
For sure.
Like
always
100%.
Identified as an athlete. I know like if you were doing it on like a binary scale, like if you like that, but always knew like I had that drawn, or envy's not the right word. Maybe it is, like just like envious of people who were able to identify that at an early age.
I think so. The early bands I was in, I was a drummer, and I'm left-handed like primarily for everything. So like drumming left-handed was like, you know, if you're sharing kits with like every band, like you got to move shit around.
Right.
And so like I was a drummer, and then I eventually became a lead singer in a band. And I think that was the point when I was like, maybe I'm not cut out for this stuff.
Right.
Because tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
We're going to lose Ralph on this episode real quick.
No. I ran with some bands.
He's like My Chemical Romance.
There was, you even mentioned it. I found the old sticker for the Dream Intended, and you was like,
TDI, bro. Yeah.
What is Jeff Whirl and Mike Gadsden. I forget who all was in that.
I don't know. Were they from out your way?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Dream Intended.
The Dream Intended.
A local band. They were local.
Yeah,
Because a lot of shows like didn't happen in the city.
They were at like Ralph's.
They were like in like Turtle Creek,
Yeah.
East McKeesport, Charleroi. Charleroi was popping.
So like those, and again,
Jeanette.
this is nice, just hotbeds of high school football and punk rock. It sounds
punk,
like, yeah. No, but so that's the thing. You guys are like, that's so off my radar. Those are like dive bars and stuff that you're playing.
I mean,
out
it
there?
wasn't even bars. It was like
VFWs.
It was
and
like
stuff?
under. Well, no, it was like you could be
They'll have us.
all.
yeah, somebody's garage.
All
Yeah.
Club Angels was like a bar, but like the front room was like bands could play there or whatever, you know.
And I mean, Ralphie, I know you got more experience this than most with like, I mean, I'm sure you saw some wild venues with the 58s and stuff, like all that type of stuff.
Yeah, some of them, but they weren't like the dream intended was planned.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
To tie that together though, when I wasn't in the second or the band that I was singing in anymore, I still wanted to be around music.
Right.
I still wanted to, you know, like have my hand and I at that time as well, there were a couple bands that like I was very like, let me help you guys, like, hey, I think this producer would do a great job on your new album. Like, let me send an intro email. Because it's going to look better, this guy's speaking for you rather than you being like, hey, my name's Ralph.
Right.
You know, not to use you as an example.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's
Tangible. Yeah.
So I always like had that like itch in me to just like want to like help people that I knew that were around me that were talented but didn't know how to necessarily connect the dots.
And again, I think we've said this a few times, like something I feel like we share is like that you know this person, you know that person, and you feel that they would be good together. So like kind of like whether it's a coach, a connector, whatever you want to call that, just like putting people together in a position to be successful or do dope shit or whatever is a talent in and of itself.
There's a quote that I really like. Someone like called it out recently on me and was like, oh, well, that's da-da-da. And I was like, well, I guess you make a good point, but I still like the quote. And it's, if you give more than you take, you'll have leverage for life. And not the idea of like getting leverage to like have a one up on someone, but like if you're constantly trying to put other people in a better position, I've been like down to my last dollar many times, and like knowing that I have people that remember like, yo, you looked out for me. Like you went out of your way to help me when I needed help. Like I got you whenever you need it.
Right.
So like that I think is like a strong like ethos of like who I am as a true person. Like I just want to, like if you actually make something that I find like really cool, or like, you know, I haven't seen anyone do this, or like you said, like you need to meet this guy over here. Like
Right.
I want to do everything I can to connect to you guys, and you'll remember it. And then like when you're giving that Grammy speech, you're gonna be like, man, shout out Brian.
Yeah.
You know, that was dope. He connected us 15 years ago.
And like you're saying, just believing that like that karma scale is being weighted in your direction with doing stuff
I actually,
like that.
speaking
is
of karma,
cool,
I
too.
lost my wallet last week.
Returned. No way. Dropped off.
Mailed back to the crib.
There you
Nothing
go.
taken.
Wow.
Granted, I bought a new license.
Canceled everything.
Canceled all my credit cards.
Yeah. Oh my
Second
God.
it showed up, I'm like,
That's just like that happens every
auto pay
time.
not going through.
Yeah. You got to switch everything back to old. Oh my God. Yeah.
Like on the phone with PNC. Can we switch it back?
Yeah. And I guess so that's got to be, like I was saying, an important point in your kind of creative development, realizing kind of you're maybe more of a behind the scenes guy than an in front of the scenes guy. And that's got to be kind of the first steps on your journey to, I know you're managing artists now, doing all that type
And
of
again,
stuff.
to identify as an artist, it's hard when you are behind the scenes, but
Sure.
at the same time, you're like, no, I still like, I'm
You're
still
producing the vision.
still doing this
Right.
and X, Y, and Z. And on that note, we didn't say this yet, but like I have a brand called Local Motives, and I started that over 10 years ago. Joe Boots, shout out Joe Boots. You know, Joe Boots like taught me how to screen print, and I like started making clothes 2011, 2012. When I moved to Chicago, I met Deezy, who is the artist I manage, and he's been one of my best friends since I lived in Chicago. But basically, like, you know, the Local Motives is like my my creative expression. That's like my, and I it took this long in the interview for me to say like local motives, you know, like local motives.
Yeah. Find the camera. Yeah, nice, Ralph.
Local-motives.com.
Local motives.
I actually haven't updated that website. So
maybe a different URL.
It'll be a refund if you buy something.
Yeah.
No, but anyways, yeah, like that's my like true, like that's me as an art, making art that I'm like passionate about. But then there's like, yeah, like, you know, any other way I can help dope artists that I'm friends with, and, you know, we have a bunch of mutuals. It's like, what do you need?
Right.
Can I give you my space? Can I give you a ride to this? Like, I want to see you at your highest form.
Right. And that's, I mean, the first time we met over at Public, I know that's when DZ had just dropped that song with Billy Hoyle.
Yep.
And that was kind of out in the streets. And I was telling you how much I love that. And that's like you were gushing about DZ, like in a great way. That's like, I'm not even taking a shot about like how much you believe in that guy. And just, I hope him and other people around you know how much love you're throwing for your people.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because that shit impacted me. I remember that's like one of the things I remember the most from that day. Is like, you're down to ride for him till the brakes come off.
So I was in, I moved out of New York right when Mac Miller died. I wasn't like close with Mac, but like the 58s, like, you know, Fran and Vin were like, you know, kind of riding with Mac. And like, I was always in that circle with what was happening in the hip hop scene. And when Mac died, I was fucked up. I think we all were, but I came back to Pittsburgh, and just, I was in like a low point, like, and I came back to visit for like the vigil and was just like, I need to be back here. Like, I don't know what I'm doing in New York, but like that whole like kind of summer, I wasn't eating great. Like I would just, you know, like you said, like meditation is like super important, and I stopped doing that, and I wasn't feeling it. And DZ was on the phone with me every single fucking night. Just like, yo, dude, what's good? Right. How are you? Like, I wasn't meeting women, and he was like, stop being a bitch. Go to the bar. The first girl that you think is cute, walk up to her, ask her name, and ask her if you can buy her a drink. And I was like, making excuses.
Sure.
Nah, dude, my breath smells. You know,
I got this wild mustache.
Yeah, it's like, I'm Italian.
No.
But yeah, like DZ was there for me. So when he reached out to me, like, yo, I like, you know, I think I want to take this rap thing more seriously and like put together a project and, you know, do shows and all that. I was like, well, of course, like, let me know what I can do to help you. So to hear you say that, like, that was like the lasting thing you took away, I'm like, that's dope, because I don't know anyone that works as hard as him. He kind of wanted to work with me because I already had like a couple of like connections to people that could help him. And I've told him since day one, like, I may not be the guy that I can get you to where you need to be. I may not have, you know, the experience in managing touring artists and X, Y, and Z, but like, I can get you to the point
we can go find those people who can help you make that next
you can
step.
Fly, essentially. Right. Yeah. So, that's like how that kind of came about. But yeah, to hear you say DZ's name and that you listen to Drumstick so much.
Oh, dude.
Shout out Billy Hoyle.
Used it in that video. Yeah. Shout out Billy Hoyle, friend of the show. And Ralphie, you're that type of friend that it sounds like too. I mean, you're always about your homeboy check-ins and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and
I started what I call a homeboy check-in, where you'd be surprised how many of our peoples ain't up to par. They're going through some shit. And beginning of the month, I try to check in on everybody just to make sure nobody's like doing drugs or just down and out. Like, can I give you a hand? Do you need anything? Because it's fucking tough out here. And you never know what someone needs till you really ask them. And then, like, most of the time, like, you know, people ask me all the time, you need anything? I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I never need nothing. But, like, be surprised how many times I hit someone up, like, you need something. They'll be like, bro, you don't even know. And they'll be like, I'm so glad I called. Like, what can we do?
And that's like,
I can only do so much, but, like, I'm there. I call my homeboy check.
But even that call.
Yeah, and how much people appreciate it. You know what I mean? That's what it,
I
like
tell
people going through shit, whatever.
Like when I first started doing it, I was like, don't think you're the only one. I'm like, I'm hitting everyone.
Yeah,
up.
you ain't special, motherfucker.
I'm not singling you out because like I'm worried about you. I'm like you're part of the crew. Like
I'm worried about everybody.
The team needs to be right. Like,
yes, exactly.
Not to put more pressure on you, but like that sounds like something that could grow. I mean, like. I'm triggered to always thinking like brands and but like like me and shout out Pat Bruner, me and Pat from Bankrupt Bodega, like we've talked about like there's another quote. I'm big on quotes. Nice. There's another quote I really like, and it's if you take care of your environment and take care of your neighbors, like you'll be set. So
keep that in mind, Ralphie.
Like Pat and I at the bodega, like we talked about like doing like a litter cleanup.
Bro.
In like, Bloomfield area. And it's just like, what you're saying, you're like, how can I better the people around me and like the environment that I'm in?
That's a great idea.
Like that too.
But like
start by cleaning your neighborhood up.
Holler at us. We'd help. We're down for everything like that. We've talked about that.
I love hearing that. And like I said, even just that simple phone call.
Yeah, I don't
can go
offer
far, man.
much. I tell people all the time, I don't have much
You
to
offer care.
you. Like I can't get you a job or anything, but like I can talk to you. Like I can't figure shit out for me, but trust me, I got your best interest in mind, and I got a hell of a shoulder to cry on, and I got words of wisdom left and right.
That goes far.
Yeah,
it is. When people like be surprised how many people like really be out there going through some shit till you ask them.
And I think you'd be surprised at how few people have people asking them like, "Are you straight?" You know what I mean? Like you think like everybody like, oh, they got this person worrying about them or this or this. But
someone, a old friend of mine like challenged me on some shit. I went to an old friend. His name was Jamal Lester. He had like a Bible study thing going on. And I was like, you know what, man? I've known dude forever. I seen him in public, and I was like, I'm gonna come to one of those. And I was like, I'm gonna come to it. I came, and this boy, like I went to church when I was little. Shit wasn't cool like that. He said some shit in that 45 minutes that impacted me, and he's like, Ralph, specifically called me out. Like, what have you done for your fellow man? And I'm like, he's like, you checking on your neighbors or your people's cool? And I'm like, nah, I haven't been checking in. Like, and it had me thinking. Like, it brought me back to Mayo, and it was like, man, what can I have done for Mayo, man? I fucked up on that, and I can't do that again because, like, it's going to happen again. There's so many people, like...
It's crazy to think that one decision, you were like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go.
And now how impactful it is,
like
right?
I haven't been back since, but, like, I keep in contact with Jamal, and I let him know, like, the next day, I messaged him, I'm like, bro... Like, I've been thinking about that, and it's fucking me up. Like, I got to step up as a human.
That's hard.
Ralph won't give that moment too much credit, though, because he thinks everything's a simulation, so...
Simulation or not, we still control it.
Okay, all right. Now we're making. That feels like progress between us, right there.
Yeah, it's a simulation.
Yeah. That was. You can put that fucking quote on your wall.
You can choose to be sad, or you can choose to be happy. And that's how it'll play out.
Put that quote on Foxtail.
All right, but I gotta say, Brian, you've been kind of teasing us with this bag of gifts over there. I don't know if this is a good time to get into it or not.
It's nothing too crazy.
No, but hey, man, this is maybe one of the first gifts we've ever received.
No, I don't believe that.
Pepe brought us a bottle of champagne. This is at least at this HQ here. So,
so I have way too many clothes. Like, as someone who makes clothes, sells vintage, works at a boutique, like I get a lot of clothes. So anytime I get an opportunity to gift some clothes out, I do.
Wow.
So the first one, I also have no clue what sizes anyone's wearing.
This could be even funnier live try-ons. Like, yeah. I'm very excited.
So the
about
first
this.
one I brought are two of these. Hold that for me real quick. I'll just hold it up.
Yeah, hold it towards him, Ralphie, towards his mouth. Oh, all hands on deck. For those just listening at home.
All Hands on Deck was an event I did with Bar Marco and Public Print House in the middle of the pandemic with the idea of getting together artists to help raise money for nonprofits that support artists. So everyone was like kind of like figuring out how to make money and what can we do? I'm a full-time artist and I can't vend and all that. So I got Bar Marco to give us their like patio and their like parking lot space. Apparently also for anyone in the future, the strip district is a legal vending area. So as long as you have permission from an owner, you can sell items there. I learned that in this project. But basically,
Ralph, write that down.
Post up right outside Sunnyside dispensary.
yeah, exactly. Sell your
it's
own.
going to be like loose squares,
Cigarettes, Altoids,
and cookies.
grams.
Yeah. Better weed than inside the dispensary.
When I was in Chicago, like recreational weed's legal now in Illinois. And when I was in Chicago, there's just dudes walking up and down the train, like loud.
Bro, even in New York now, like I have some friends, they're like, dude, people just are setting up folding tables on the sidewalk with pre-rolls on them. Like it's nothing. Like the world is wild, dude. It's wild.
So this was All Hands on Deck was an event I did bi-weekly where we raised money for, like I said, nonprofits. So we did the Afro-American Music Institute in Homewood. We did Pittsburgh Restaurant Workers Aid. We did an event that went to like the women's shelter. And again, this is all just like, what can I do to help other people, to make money?
Dope.
Essentially, I probably lost money doing it. So I got 2 of these in XLs.
Oh, thank you.
So,
appreciate it.
Now it gets fun.
Now it gets fun.
All right, well, I got one of these. Hold that for me.
So
double XL.
Okay, that looked right at you, Ralphie. Local motives, love it. Brown.
This is a collab I did with
sick.
graffiti artist Crusher from Bloomfield. He's an OG. I loved his style when I first met him. He was super, super nice. And I was like, dude, I got a brand. You have like really cool hand style. Like, you want to do some shit? And Crusher's the most yinzer dude I know. He's like, bro, fucking let's do it. He's like, anything you need, holler at me. And like, I was like sending him like, he'd like send me flicks and like, I'd be like, can you change this? And he's like in his van, like drawing at night. Like, he's just like, he was the man. So I got one of these.
That's sick.
And then,
that's dope.
This one here is a Blasphemy, vintage Blasphemy shirt. So
I remember Blasphemy well.
Blasphemy was, a classic streetwear store in the South Side.
That's sick.
And I thrifted this and like, shout out Dave and all the guys. And, this was like really, really cool for me to find. But again, like, it's just sitting on a rack and I've had it for 2 years and no one's bought it. And I'm just like, well, I know some guys on the South Side that might fuck with it.
Hell yeah,
Cut
you
the
do.
sleeves off of it.
This one might not fit anyone, but it's amazing.
Oh my gosh. I remember this shirt, dude. The Samoan headhunter with the Troy Polamalu caricature.
Fittingly, we hang that up in here.
Yes, yeah. You know what, Brian? If nothing, we're gonna have you sign this, and we'll just like hang it up in
But
here. Yeah,
my favorite part is like how sad do you think Polamalu was when they labeled him a headhunter? Like,
dude, he definitely had
he was probably like, damn.
Dude, I actually was a ball boy for the Steelers for a long time on first year 05 when we won the Super Bowl. He used to come to every game with his own, I'm saying it like a car shop, his own priest in the locker room.
Priest?
Dude, he's like this wild
Priest or like
Greek
medicine,
Orthodox. I don't know exactly what his religion is, but it's like dude, this guy would come into the Steelers locker room, full get up, like just like following Troy around. Like it was wild, dude. Troy Polamalu is the most interesting human being I've ever interacted with in my entire life.
I don't know. Hopefully he's not. Well, hopefully he is watching.
Hopefully he is watching.
Shout
Thanks,
out
Troy. Yeah.
But I heard his kids are not well behaved.
I won't disagree with that. How about that? I won't disagree with that.
Just a rumor I heard. So you've seen the kids in the action.
Wild.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Ralph, what else you got in that bag over there? Yeah. Don't jam us up with the Steeler plugs.
Kid.
Yeah. We heard the bingo
Turned
story.
out all right, Troy.
And
Don't worry
the
about
last one is a classic tie-dye Steelers vintage 19, probably 98.
Ralph is eyeing that up just
That
as
is
much as
sick.
I am. We're going to have to fight for that one,
It's
Ralphie.
very big.
Oh, it is very big. I'm bigger than you, Ralphie, so that's like perfect for me.
Yeah, this is just a classic.
Oh yeah.
It's just a classic tie-dye Steelers tee, but again, is 98.
the Rydell,
Yeah,
dude.
right.
Oh my
But like
God.
again, he's like, I'll hold that.
Yeah. No, we'll go over it all together.
Yeah, that's,
where's my backpack?
that's like
yeah.
shit I just have laying around that I'm like, this is sick, and why is it not anywhere else? That's I think
Dude,
that's it. Yeah.
thank you so much. Ralphie and I are gonna have to come up with some competition to figure out which type of these ones. We've been saying we're gonna do Oklahoma against each other. Winner of the Oklahoma does.
I think a good odd or even.
yeah,
rock, paper, scissors tournament.
A simple thumb wrestle. Will do,
You put your foot in the middle and
bubble gum.
Yeah, my mother punched your mother in the nose.
So Brian, some of those shirts you were telling us about, some of the past events you've done. Why don't you tell us about some of the stuff you might have coming up here in the near future?
I love
Not
it.
to jam you up. Transition.
No,
guy.
I loved it. That was a beautiful transition.
I do this professionally. Thank you.
I just I just started managing a new boutique that opened up in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
It's in East Liberty. It's called Tons. And it is basically Pittsburgh's first foray into like designer men's and women's clothing, which I used to work in and around in Chicago, New York.
Yep.
So this is like the first real, like, not buy, sell, trade type store. Like, this is like, you can go in here and buy, like, we can get Ralphie a $12,000, like, Jill Sander coat,
Whoa.
Sounds like my type of coat.
Bust open the piggy bank, Ralphie.
But so I just started like managing there, and that's kind of like the newest thing for me. DZ's album is coming out in January. It's called Be Hungry But Grateful. I'm really stoked for that.
We're gonna have to get him on here at some point next time.
Next time he's in town, we'll line that up
for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then I have a few clothing collections that I'm going to be putting out, definitely in spring, summer. There are also collections that I said I was going to put out in the fall, winter, and just haven't got to them.
Classic.
So again, really trying to take pride in being an artist and making stuff. But when you said artist versus creator earlier, what popped into my head was actually like all artists are creators, but not all. I don't know if that's right. Basically, what I'm getting at is like, it's very hard for to organize and release things, or we've watched Narf come up with these concepts for art shows, and that stuff's really not easy. As someone who's been around it and conceptualized listening parties for DZ, or
you're around Pat too. Pat is great at that.
Yeah. But
right.
Pat's last show, I watched him work just
the junk drawer
so hard.
Crazy, dude. The smallest detail, the floor with the roof and everything.
And you really gotta give it to people that can do that. And I used to be so fucking negative, and I want to apologize to anyone that I've been negative to, because I realize that's not getting me anywhere, and it's not helping you get anywhere. And I'd rather, even if I don't vibe with your art, you're still making art.
Right. So, yeah. And I say this to Ralphie and Narf all the time. It's it's pretty hard to dog somebody when you're helping run the ship called the Anybody Can Do This show. It's kind of hard.
My homies, they're like, what podcast you go on? How exclusive is it? I was like, it's that Anybody Can Do This show. They're like, oh, so they're just bringing any. I'm like,
it's nuanced, motherfucker. All
Anybody
right?
can do it, but not everybody should do it.
There you go. Not everybody should do this show.
That's exactly.
But yeah, so I have some clothing releases coming up. I really, I worked at a screen printing shop for a long time, so I've printed T-shirts. I've made some cut and sew pieces. I have more of these hats coming out. These hats are made out of thrifted corduroy pants.
Sick.
So I find the largest size pants I can. And
you make the hat?
I have a friend who he's very good at making hats.
Sick.
And I basically send him all the fabric, and he whips them up. So I have a bunch of small I have tote bags that I'm making out of drop cloths. I'm still trying to figure out my who I am as an artist and a designer,
right?
For sure. So I find myself wanting to do all these little collections. Hey, this is a cool idea. Why don't we sew the head hole on this sweater closed, and we put a elastic waistband in the bottom of the sweater, and wear the sweaters as pants.
And now you do a show called the Collections Collection, which is just all different collections,
all these
different
wild
collections.
So yeah, I just making 20 pieces of this and 20 pieces of that. I definitely realized a part of my branding is like reusing materials. I don't want to like say that's like I'm a recycling artist or, you know, like, but I take pride in like going thrifting. I'm like, there's way too many of like this in the world right now. Like, how can I use any of that?
Right.
Which leads to the last collection that I have coming out, which I'm really, really proud of. It's called Local Motors. And it is basically going to be a collection of gym shorts that I have sewn like vintage racing t-shirts onto.
No shit.
So it's basically people have compared it to like, you know, those like are they're like ransom notes that have like a bunch of different letters like pieced together.
Yeah.
So that you don't
like cut
know.
out of a magazine.
Yeah, like all these cut out letters.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically did that with a bunch of like NASCAR shirts and like, you know, like Jeff Gordon's face like slapped on your thigh and like
Ralphie,
some like cool
your boy.
words that say like born to ride.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
shit like that.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really proud of that. I was going to put it out in the summer, but I wanted to do it like professionally and like shoot the photos properly and, you know, release them as a collection. So, push me to do that now that I've said it on camera. So
I was gonna say it's on wax now.
and then maybe next time we do this, I'll bring some of those clothes with me.
Oh yeah, or we'll pull
But
up
yeah,
with the camera on
lots of maybe you guys can model for the collection too.
Whoa.
Actually,
Don't tempt us with a good time.
have we done any modeling yet?
Not. I guess we've modeled our own.
Not legally.
Oh, Ralph. Stay golden, pony boy. Oh man. No,
But yeah, we can line that. Actually, to be straight up, I wanted to. I'd love to have you guys model because part of what I wanted to shoot with these shorts are like I want Brick from Time Bomb to be a model.
Fuck yeah.
You know, like I want people that like I look up to that I think having style is one thing, but having an aesthetic is a whole nother thing. And if you like are like confident in who you are and how you present yourself, like it oozes. And I see those guys and I'm like, yeah, you may not fit like the fashion, but like you ooze aesthetic.
Right.
Like you're you. And I like want to document or capture you. So like I love grabbing, you know, people like that to use. So yeah, you guys are, you know,
really big thighs. I got the aesthetic for a pair
Ralphie,
of shorts.
book your haircut now. Yeah.
Shorts are extra small to triple XL.
Oh, nice. That's perfect for us. Yeah, I need Ralphie with Jeff Gordon on his thigh.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
The Intimidator, Earnhardt, possibly.
There's some Dale Earnhardts in there for sure.
That's my guy.
Nice.
So yeah, I got a lot of projects coming and shout out to like, you know, everyone that's helped me with those, you know, shout out Jules at Public Print House. That's been a day one since I started making clothes. So yeah, I like I said, I want to push myself to like be more serious with this. And like, I see, like, I laugh at the city paper all the time. People that know me know, like, I cut up on the city paper just cause like, they'll have like 200 categories and they're like best of, and it's like best vintage store, best place to buy vintage clothes.
Oh, dude, best place to talk about vintage clothes
best
where it's being
secondhand
sold.
Clothing store.
Dude,
I'm like, yo, what?
Don't even get.
So when they have like best fashion designer, I'm always like,
And what we found out is, if and when you do win that, they make you pay $200 to get the fucking plaque. What kind of racket are you running, Pittsburgh City Paper?
They're running a racket.
Racket.
They're
dog.
running a racket.
Maybe we can.
They snub a lot of people, and just look. I mean, I'm not even going to start no controversy, but look into who won the yoga thing. Best yoga studio. She don't even have a studio. She teaches like one Zoom class a week. I get it.
Ralph's been wanting to start a religion. Maybe we start with our own newspaper and then we work our way up.
I was going to say.
I've been saying for a long time, Pittsburgh City Paper, watch your ass, because people would rather tune into what's good in the hood.
Oh,
you got it. I agree.
Print media, we're coming for you.
You can't buy my vote. You can't pay me enough to say that was the best yoga studio.
You can buy mine. I'm very much for sale. Like, yeah.
Did you guys vote?
Yes,
I did vote.
I did.
Often too. As many
You didn't see our
times.
Fetterman video? Yeah.
He said I voted off.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, Brian, this has been dope, dude. Thank you so much for pulling up on us, man. I mean, I think it's going to be the first of many times that I guess it's the second now. The time first on pods, second on wax, but
third on the baseball diamond.
Oh, I mean, anybody's home run derby right around the corner.
We got to do some like winter Olympics.
I always like, what do you do in the winter though? Like,
I've thought about triathlon shit, like not your average triathlon.
What about
like,
how much are speed guns?
speed gun, like the pitch gun?
What
we
if
could
we
probably
had-
get one of those on eBay.
But what if we had like a sled riding competition?
I was thinking this one.
I love it.
I was thinking double dare.
I was just about to
I
say-
was thinking
Do we have to
double
beep
dare.
that out?
We bring back double dare. And the first people I want to challenge.
We'll be beeping that out. Yeah, exactly.
Double dare.
No, but
Double dare.
I have always had this. It's not a winter thing, but this envision of a whole field day, like 3-on-3 basketball, home run derby. So because like the Southside Park right down here under the Birmingham Bridge has like the hockey court, has the hoop court, where we do the derby now. But we learned last year while we were at the derby, they've decommissioned that as a park. So breaking news to all the anybody's out there, we're gonna have to find a new home for the anybody's derby.
what
in the
is-
next
No,
couple
it'll
years.
still be there, right?
Bro,
It
don't
just
get
won't
me
be considered a
started.
park.
No,
It'll
they're like
just
gonna
be
plant
land.
trees there. It's like becoming one of these places in the South Side for like natural clean air. They're like changing all these. It's a whole thing, dude. Don't get me started into it. Yeah. But
I mean, I guess it's
stay tuned for anybody's double dare. I guess we just told the world that. So yeah.
I love it.
I love it too.
I mean, the possibilities are endless. You know,
Endless.
Is that the one with the hidden temple? Like the blue barracuda?
No. Like,
That's what I want
where
to
you
do.
got to get the flags.
Yeah.
Yeah. Legends of the Hidden Temple.
We could do that too.
That's what I'm thinking. I like to be active. I
like
to
hid
move and groove.
hid things in Southside.
Or just like we did this thing too.
scavenger
We did
hunt.
an obstacle race. Me and Skater Rob 2 or 3 seasons ago. Like raced and had to like stop at 3 or 4 different stations, chug a beer, flip a bottle. All
Yeah,
that
anything
Bring
nonsense.
that up on the questionnaire.
Anything where
What challenges do you have for us?
Yeah.
Open challenge season.
Ralph is just dying to just do challenges on camera. Like,
Do you remember that? Wasn't that like early pandemic where there was like all these challenges?
What was the last one? The milk crate challenge.
I thought the last one was like that super ass hot chip. Super ass hot.
that's
super
still
hot
going
ass
on
chip.
now.
The Pocky chip.
Yeah,
Have you guys done that yet?
No.
I'm not following.
There's your fucking challenge, Ralphie.
We've done.
For the shirt.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
We've done the. You
Hot
can
ones.
have it for that. We did the hot ones challenge and like. It's not worth it. It's not worth putting your body through that.
Yeah,
because,
we
like,
might just be the MCs this year.
people
at the
think
hot
it's
ones.
easy, like easy peasy. Oh, I can eat whatever's hot, but like your liver and shit got to
Bro,
process that.
I took PTO the next day. I couldn't go. I swear to God.
Everybody around me was fucked up. I went to Aldi's and I bought the biggest 2 tubs of yogurt, and I just seen on the internet there like you need yogurt to cool your belly so they'll make you call off work the next day. I woke up the next day cool, but like I talked to a couple people besides neighbor taking off that were like fucked up.
Yeah, out of bounds, fucked up. Dude.
Yeah, I don't do heat well, so I'm gonna have to sit that
That's
one.
what you
They were doing that in the port. It was making local Facebook rounds where the idea was to eat that chip and then not take a drink of water or anything for 20 minutes. If
That's
you could
like
do
a TikTok challenge,
If you could
I'm
do the
pretty
20
sure.
minutes, dude was giving out $3.50 or some shit like that.
Somebody was paying
People were lining up and failing and making the internet.
Before I do anything for $3.50.
Ended up in the hospital. What happened? My liver failed.
Doing what? The Pocky chip challenge.
Shout out the Mon Valley. Like,
Yeah, forever.
innovative as hell right there.
I love
The Mon Valley. I woke up yesterday to
Made all the steel.
I woke up to
Made Ralph.
Facebook rapper beef songs.
That sounds
from the
like
port.
something for next week, I think. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Oh, right.